We in law enforcement broadly define cybercrime as any crime where a computer or the internet is used to commit or conceal a crime. And any number of cases can have a cybercrime element to them. Computers and corporate computer systems are often targeted by malicious hackers who surreptitiously install software, allowing them to destroy, damage, or steal information from home or businesses. The malicious software, which is called malware, can be used to infiltrate businesses and wreak financial damage from anywhere in the world. More personally, computers can be used as instruments of stalking or harassment via email or social networking sites like Facebook, and they can be used to traffic in child pornography on the internet. In the identity theft arena, hundreds of thousands of credit card numbers are sold by the internet on underground sites. Often these account numbers were stolen via computer intrusions or other high-tech methods involving the use of a computer or the internet. And finally, the internet is fraught with scam artists trying to trick people into giving up their money or merchandise. And these scams run from the small bait and switch operations you might see on Craigslist to sophisticated phony websites that are set up to look like genuine websites such as major banks or even the Internal Revenue Service. This is a growing threat, we all know it, and it is a frightening threat, and it is very real. To move aggressively to combat crime in this area, last year we created the Cybercrime and Identity Theft Bureau, building on the work the office had done in this enforcement area earlier. The Bureau is now composed of 10 assistant district attorneys who spend all of their time on these matters, and about 70 other assistant district attorneys who spend at least part of their time. The Cybercrime Bureau has two primary functions. First, it's tasked with providing supervision and expertise for the 200 to 300 new identity theft cases that come into our office each month. The overwhelming majority of those cases come to us through arrests by the NYPD, and they are handled by the 70 designated ADAs within our trial division who receive special training and handle these cases in addition to their regular duties. And second, our full-time and other major case ADAs conduct intensive, long-term investigations and prosecutions of national and international criminal organizations as part of our investigation division. This mission includes developing long-term malware, hacking, and intrusion investigations, as well as sophisticated cyber frauds. What's striking about many of these cybercrime and identity theft investigations is that the major investigations often begin as local arrests, having nothing at all to do with cybercrime. In one case, we had a pattern of thefts from lockers in a gym. As we investigated, we learned that the personal information culled from those thefts were used in a massive identity theft ring. In other instances, cases began as a summary arrest of a person presenting a single forged check at a bank window. But the investigation revealed that the check was the tip of a large iceberg of organized identity theft and fraud. There is simply no way to detect these patterns other than the laborious task of sifting through individual cases as they come into our office. Every morning, a supervisor in our Cybercrime Bureau reviews every case that was written up in our complaint room the day before. And where the allegations suggest that identity theft may be a motive, or where we suspect that cybercrime may be involved, they speak to the assigned prosecutor to begin to explore the potential outline of the underlying criminality. As I said, this is a painstaking and laborious task. But we in the DA's office have access to a nearly limitless store of raw intelligence. Our task is to devote the hard work necessary to make sense of it. And time again, that hard work has paid off. This past September, we announced the indictments of 36 individuals for their participation in several large-scale international identity theft and cybercrime rings that stole large amounts of money from 34 separate corporate and individual victims in the United States. Those victims' bank account information was obtained through the use of malware surreptitiously planted in the victims' computers, enabling accomplices overseas in Eastern Europe to steal personal identification information relating to the victims' bank accounts in the United States. And that information was then used to transfer money from the victims' bank accounts into the bank accounts set up by the defendants. The 36 defendants were foreign students from the Russian Federation, the Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus, who were in the United States on exchange visitor visas, and they are charged with opening bank accounts at J.P. Morgan Chase and other financial institutions in order to receive these stolen transfers. But it's not just the hackers or cyber thieves operating on remote shores who are pirating stolen information. A large and growing problem is what we call insider identity theft, in which trusted individuals within large companies or banks acquire confidential information and sell it in an organized way. That information is in turn often used to manufacture counterfeit checks or credit cards. For example, in a case that we concluded last year that we dubbed Paper Chase, the office filed indictments against 18 of the ringleaders of a well-organized conspiracy. The defendants had paid tellers in major New York banks to provide photocopies of legitimate checks along with personal information belonging to approximately 500 identity theft victims. The ringleaders used that information to manufacture thousands of counterfeit checks, and by fraudulently cashing and depositing those counterfeit checks, the defendants stole millions of dollars from victims as diverse as the Equinox Fitness Club, the Harlem Children's Zone, Diane von Furstenberg, Madison Square Garden, the New York City Board of Education, and even the Bronx property clerk of the New York City Police Department. The list, as you can see, includes some very, very sophisticated victims. And this is another trend that we are seeing. Even major corporate victims are involved when identity theft rings use stolen credit card information to purchase millions of dollars of merchandise. And then they convert that merchandise into cash using a very old-fashioned technique that everyone in this room understands, fencing. So in short, no individual, no institution is immune from these kinds of crimes. And so one important function of our Cybercrime Bureau is to alert the public to the steps they must take to ensure that their computers are secure and their personal information remains safe. This is a big challenge, but there is simply no turning back for our office. The new economy that we all live in simply demands the free flow of goods, of money, of credit, and of information. Keeping all of those things out of the hands of sophisticated criminals is, in this free environment we live in, that we're privileged to live in, a demanding task. Every time that we bring down a major cybercrime ring, it seems the criminals develop new and more sophisticated techniques to try to evade us. But we are not shy about using all of the tools available to us to foil them. We increasingly seek court orders allowing us to search hard drives and obtain records from internet service providers. And we continue to seek warrants allowing us to eavesdrop on telephones, texts, and emails. And we are equally aggressive in partnering in appropriate cases with agencies that can help us dismantle major criminal enterprises. We have established, for example, a very close working relationship with the United States Secret Service and its Electronic Crimes Task Force. And for the first time, we've also been working closely in the appropriate cases with the FBI and its new New York Cybercrime Division. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the areas in which our office has been actively engaged in this past year. As I said, it's been an honor for me to be able to talk with you tonight about the work of an office that was so important to so many of us in this room and informed the direction of our legal careers. But turning on that loyalty and taking advantage of it, and before I take questions, which I'm happy to do, I can tell you that no amount of intelligence gathering can supplant responsible lawyers like those of you in this audience when it is in your client's interest to advise those clients to report crime to the district attorney. Indeed, for the first time last year in our office, we issued a policy on charging organizations modeled after the federal policy, which explicitly rewards companies for cooperating. And we mean it. Nothing is more important to us than self-reporting and full cooperation by companies who want to do what is responsible. And so I leave you with a plea for your help in helping us fight crime in the 21st century. We have several hotlines on our website, which I urge you to call, but you can also always call me or a member of our executive staff. And when you do call, I obviously can't guarantee the outcome, but I can, and I believe I can guarantee, a fair shake, an aggressive and proactive and fair staff of dedicated prosecutors. Thank you so much for having me.